to let a few doors walk, but if that freezer runs low, I gotta stock it. These scrub bugs got no mask, darn sure no drop times, but this chili has deer burger in it tonight.
Where did this podcast go? Straight to hell. Yeah, speaking of hell, check out East Coast Bowhunting Podcast.
Fantastic.
First of all, I'm addicted to the show.
I like that. That's cool. Okay. Whole hunt, you live it, you breathe it.
It's a whole different world.
This East Coast has a little bit more of an edge and a grind to it.
You guys are fucking awesome.
I want to feel like I'm staying with the voice.
But I actually saw Jesus.
Where we're in now, we're insane.
I just want to get the realest people possible in the industry.
You know, if you're not pissing people off, you're not doing it right.
Welcome to another episode of East Coast Bowhunting Podcast as we march into a very special show as we cover badassery, hunting, and dropping the huntress by bringing in the hunter. We have an awesome guest to help touch exactly what I mean. She brings the hardcore to the hunting industry as we encourage and educate people to get out there in the timber safely and taste success. We are here in Moodus, Connecticut. Thank you, Trev, for that adjustment. At Slayer headquarters, hiding in the mountains of God's heaven. I'm your boy D-Rock, here with
Trev,
Ryan,
Lyds.
as well as
Lyds.
Welcome. Welcome to the show. Today's episode is brought to you by Shabin Brewing, the Hunter's Beer at www.shabinbrewing.com. 100 Demons, East Coast hardcore music known worldwide at www.100demons.com. Trev's Euros for all your Euromount needs on Facebook. Ethics Archery, it's like steroids for your arrows at www.ethicsarchery.com. Use promo code EastCoast10 and get your 10% off the final bill. Nor'easter Game Calls, get them in close for all your game call needs. ECB Blood Series grunt calls are sold out, so if you snoozed, you losed or lost. Lost or losed?
snooze you lose, man.
Snooze you lose? There's no past tense. Thank you for all your support. Look out for the Blood Series turkey pot calls and custom strikers coming out soon on www.nor'eastergamecalls.com. This show is presented by Working Class Bowhunter. Not just a podcast, but the brand in the hunting industry. East Coast Bowhunting Podcast is here as always for new and old hunters by sharing our experiences in the woods through playing and slaying. What's up?
what's up, D-Rock?
D-Rock, what's happening?
What's going on, Lyds?
I'm going to crack
good?
one.
What is good? Oh, Shabin.
Looks like it was hard for you.
Yeah,
It was. I was trying not to, whatever.
It must be a Walter thing, but I'll only say it once because I noticed last Wild Edge Inc. episode, I told your brother too many times, just get up into that mic.
Sorry.
Make friends with it. No, don't apologize.
It's really intimidating to put your face this close to a microphone.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's just in my personal space, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
It'll come natural.
You can slap it out of the way if it gets too close. Be like, back the fuck up. You know?
It's like, bro.
That's fine. So let's catch up to the past week. What was everyone up to? Let's start with Ryan. I always put Trev on blast and catch him off guard. So let's start with
ready, too.
The one time.
Yeah, Ryan, what'd you do this past week?
Oh, man, put a lot of miles on the ground, boots on the ground, looking for some sheds. Unfortunately, haven't been able to find any just yet, but, finding some newer areas, some older areas, just where the deer have been going. We've had a little bit of snowfall, so it's easy to follow those tracks and keep that mental note of where they've actually been going, not just for hunting season coming up, but, of course, for shed season, because where those deer are running now is where you're going to find those sheds. So I'm putting a lot of boots on the ground, some time in the woods, looking for those sheds, finding some new areas for this season, but been coming up a little empty so far.
All right. At least you're getting boots on the ground.
Hell yeah.
That's good. Trev, what about you? What you catch up with?
Same thing. Shed hunting.
Shed hunting?
Yeah.
Were you shed hunting?
I was fucking shed hunting.
Oh, no shit.
I've yet to find a 2019 fresh shed. Found one left over. But that's about it. Like the same thing, getting into spots and learning new spots by seeing, especially with the snow being on the ground and trails. And
yeah, you were hitting some cornfields, yeah?
yeah, I was on some ag fields. My cousin's property, he asked me to shed hunt with him and kind of scout it out for him for the next upcoming season. And I'll tell you what, that place is fire. And you can see it on you could have saw it on Snapchat. And getting on some of them trails and stuff it looked like more or less cow runs than it was deer runs. So
You know what?
It was exciting.
Yeah, you know what would be really cool if right after Snapchat, if you switched over to IG and FB Live, that'd be really cool, man.
You know, I keep meaning to do that, but then I just get so intrigued with what's going on, and I just forget what I was doing.
Yeah,
so,
I get it, man.
You
I
know?
get it, especially when you're out there in nature. There's a lot to take in.
You don't want to be on your phone. You're in the nature.
Yeah, I
Right.
want my nose to the
Right.
ground and trying to find them sheds. I mean, I do, and I will, and I'll definitely get better with it. But
No, this way we could spread the education and kind of teach the newer hunters what to look for and whatnot. But yeah, it's a work in progress. I mean, we're so new at this, trying to spread the education, so to speak, on social platform that it's a learning curve. What about you, Lyds? What'd you do this past week?
Well, this past week I didn't have boots on the ground, plural. I had a single boot on the ground, surgical boot that is. But
Why is that? Can you explain a little bit for our listeners? Because that sounded a little, something off. So this
yeah,
way
that's
I
a
get a good
little
picture.
strange. But Trev was like, boots on the ground, boots on the ground. So I had to throw it in there. But I just had surgery on my foot, so I've had cabin fever laid up in my house. I'm trying to just get myself healthy. I had bunion surgery, which is way less cool than it sounds like. And I've just been trying to recover, and I'm a marketing person, so I've just been trying to educate myself and really put in the work, behind the scenes for Wild Edge, and just trying to work on, our customer service and getting people the steps that they've been waiting for.
That's cool.
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when we were doing that's the past week catch-up that I've been dealing with is, all of us actually, is Harrisburg. So we're really prepping, getting all the stuff that we need to get together, and like banners, merch, all that stuff. And last week, when was it? Thursday evening?
Yeah, Thursday evening.
Yeah, we were hitting it hard. Trev and I were here in Wild Edge Inc., and we were actually, I really felt Mexican, man. I was there. They're like, we can't pay you, but here's some beer. It's like, okay, senor, but it's cool, and it was pretty cool just be in the mix of it and see how much of a family production this is. And I mean, even your father was involved, which was badass. He supplied the beer. Shout out to him.
Yeah, he comes for the beer usually.
That's pretty cool. And everyone was involved, which was pretty badass. I mean, Trev was cutting rope. I was packing packs. Greg, a really, really cool helper. Don't mess with him. I know I wouldn't mess with him. But
that was his little one, right? That was here? Would have been his son?
I don't know. I wasn't down there with you guys.
Yeah.
But there was the little one was here. I think it...
If not, it's an honest mistake because it kind of looked like him. So
Yeah.
He does have a son, so it might have.
yeah, it probably was. And then even Bullet was just chilling off in the corner, And at the same token, just with the whole group, we're a team, and that's what it takes. Everyone helping out each other. So it was pretty badass. Definitely digging it. And I just caught up with all our stuff we had to do. My one day off that I get, I was running around getting ready for Harrisburg. So
I
that's
know,
cool.
we didn't even get to the stuff that we wanted to get to for the podcast.
I know. It's crazy.
Welcome back, friends, to another segment of the weekly Whitetail News. First, I want to quickly touch on, I know D-Rock said something about it before, Nor'easter Game Calls and East Coast Bowhunting doing some big things together. So get on Nor'easter Game Calls website, check them out on social media, check out their line of East Coast Bowhunting calls. Like D-Rock said, anywhere from the pot calls to the box calls, anything you can think of. Our Blood Series grunt calls, too late for that. Those sold out, so you're missing out on those. Get on their website, get on their social media, check out what we got in the store here.
And I think we're even going to have the Little Mother Clucka release, which is basically like a little pocket-size turkey box call, as well as the normal size one, and actually one quite larger, mature type turkey box call. So I'm looking forward to it. It's got both our logos on it. Those aren't Blood Series. Those are just Nor'easter Game Calls, powered by East Coast Bowhunting Podcast.
Hell yeah. So let's go ahead and start this off with an update on my Ethics Archery and Serious Archery arrow build that you guys have been hearing about in our past episodes. So I've got the dozen Serious Archery shafts all cleaned up and ready for the next step. I started with stripping the factory fletchings because, like I told you guys, I'm going to be going with a little bit something different, a 4 fletch, and it's going to be a little bit of a customization going on with it. You guys will have to stay tuned for that. So at first, I thought I'd be able to use a knife, be able to scrape these fletchings right off. Hell, I was wrong with that. That's for sure. Of course, it wasn't easy to task with a knife, and I was worried about damaging that arrow shaft. So
I'm sorry.
That shaft.
Shaft. It was damaged too. It looked like a hack job, but you did a good job afterwards, though.
So at first, I'm like, yeah, I'll be able to do this, but it wasn't happening. So I don't have the proper stripping tools to it. Of course, they make fletching strippers, but I don't have any. So I went to YouTube and I found the tool for the job, and it's something that everyone has in their kitchen. Do you guys have any guesses on what I end up using?
A shank?
No, that's what you would use, Dina.
I don't have one of those in my kitchen.
That's the Mexican answer. I don't have one either in my kitchen. It was a fucking potato peeler. Vegetable peeler, potato peeler. I saw a guy use it on YouTube. I'm like, all right, no problem. Zero damage to the shaft. There was no gouging, no cuts.
It sounds like it hurts.
It was protecting the shaft.
Easy with the teeth.
So this thing worked perfect. So I easily got off all the fletchings, the glue, again, with no damage. And the next, with the guidance of the video that Haas from Ethics Archery Products has online, I used a 22 caliber wire bore brush, attached it to a drill so it spun on its own, and I cleaned the shaft where those inserts are going to be getting glued into to get that good, clean connection with the glue in the insert.
Did you clean that shaft good, though?
I cleaned it real good. I reamed it. I reamed the shaft.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was with a wire brush, too, mind you.
Oh, nice,
So.
Nice. But you know what? It's an interesting process because I know at first you're a little daunted on the procedure, and I actually caught up with Haas earlier in the week, and he did mention that you were kind of standoffish on building it, and you had reached out, seeing what the options were, and you kind of were leaning more towards him building it for you. And it's pretty cool how Haas is the arrow doctor from Ethics Archery.
Yep.
He actually encouraged you and reassured you that it's an easy process. And the fact that you're bringing us step by step is a really, really cool learning process.
Hell yeah, and I'm having a ton of fun doing it. I've never built an arrow before, but now come this season when these arrows in my quiver, they're knocked on my string, got them in my rest, and I'm putting these things into the animals, knowing that, not only did Haas and Serious Products and Ethics Archery hook me up with this stuff and got me the right thing, but I'm also building it myself throughout the way. So it's another accomplishment. Just harvesting that animal is something that I've got my hands on as well.
Nice. Did you use the promo code?
I did not use the promo code, unfortunately. So I got these through Sirius. I didn't get them through the Ethics Archery website with just the inserts. Everything came as a bundle, and I'm doing it myself.
So what promo code could they use?
So the promo code that he is speaking of, D-Rock is speaking of, East Coast 10. Get yourself 10% off your final order with Ethics Products. And it's going to be your final order. So make sure you use it. I mean, this stuff is just a game changer, and I can't wait. I've got the proper arrow weight now. I've got everything ready to go. I'm going to try and get this going with some Zeus broadheads as well and really get that to push through. So not worrying about those shoulder hits anymore. Like you heard that story I had with that buck this year, hit him in the shoulder.
Same here.
I'd be blowing right through that thing and there'd be some more meat in the freezer. So after I was going ahead and I used the brushing, I cleaned out the carbon residue using a little bit of acetone and some Q-tips, make sure it's all clean. So now I've got the shafts are ready, they're clean, they're ready to go, and I'm holding off on doing the inserts and the outserts so I can bring you some content for next week. So stay tuned for that.
Awesome.
Now, to get to a little bit of whitetail news here, you guys heard me asking to bring your news into us. We did have a listener reach out to us. His name is Mike Salter. He requested us to touch back on the food plots and the legality of using them in Connecticut. So we did touch base on those earlier in one of our earlier episodes on how we were using them. Now, of course, every state does have their own laws. So this is for Connecticut. Please do us a favor, do yourself a favor. Check out the legality, the laws of using them in your state. But I did reach out to our local DEEP here, and they did confirm that it is 100% legal to make your own food plots, to grow your own food plots. Not just private land, but it is state land as well.
And there's no limitation on how big you build it, too. That's the crazy part.
Correct.
But what did they specify as far as like agriculturally growing? Like you're not going to bring a fucking tractor.
No
into
machine.
land.
Well, that's
Good
just
question.
it. Of
Good
course,
question.
on private land, you can do anything you want. State land, you can't have motorized vehicles on there. You're not driving your tractor out there with your harrow attached to it, tilling up ground. And that's one thing that this officer did say to me. He's like, you're out on state land, you're cultivating a crop. People are going to look at you funny and start raising some questions. But you want to go in there with a metal rake like Trev and I did earlier this year.
Or if you're PornStarRyan, you bring your hoe with you.
That's it. You bring your hoe and your rake.
There you go.
So, state land, you can get out there with your metal rake, throw down your seed for whatever you're trying to grow in there, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's 100% legal. So by all means, go ahead, do your homework on what types of plot would work for you in your scenario. Get some food in the ground to help out your herds. Put some meat in your freezer and on your dinner table.
Awesome.
So that is the weekly Whitetail News brought to you by Ryan the Porn Star. And as always, send your news.
I can't get enough of that.
Every time.
You said send your news,
yes,
right? Not your nudes.
So far, no nudes, just a little news.
Cool, cool.
Caddy Cowboy's going to send you a nude. You know that's coming, right?
I hope not.
Thank God for good equipment because people probably might get that confused. So that's cool. So on that note, I just want to let our listeners know and everyone out there, and especially on social platform, we'll let them know. The pre-order hat sale is winding down. We have hit our mark. We're just going to give it time for other people to reach out if they haven't saw the advertisement and pushing the hats. East Coast Bowhunting hats, they're $30 shipped to your door. Just submit your money through PayPal at East Coast Bowhunting Podcast at gmail.com. Use the friends option and make sure you specify in the message which one you want and your address. So this way we can ship it out once the time comes. But we are winding down. I thank you for your patience, especially for the early submitters. I mean, it goes all the way out to Alaska, which is pretty cool. The fact that we reach out there is pretty badass. If we had someone out of the States, I kind of would cringe because I would bite the bullet on shipping, but I'll still do it. I'll still do it,
Hell yeah.
We're not trying to make profit off of this. We just want everyone to get in touch, listen to us, and rock our gear. It's a pretty cool logo. So let's get to it, man. This whole episode, I got ants in my pants. I got Lyds right next to me. I'm excited. How about you guys?
Let's do it.
Yep.
So I think we should do it right.
Yo, I'm getting ready to put y'all up on something, man. Yo, when you see something ill, you know what I mean? That shit is woke. Anything ill you see is woke. Nigga have a big 6 at the curb, that's woke, okay? Especially if you got a fully equipped kid on it, it's woke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I had this bad bitch in town, she was woke. Had me fucked up in the head, I mean, whoa. Bought the bitch diamonds and pearls, I mean,
like, whoa.
Should've seen them shit shining on the
Oh, man, this is what I've been waiting for. I've been looking forward to this. We've all been looking forward to I like that.
Good timing, Lyds.
Everyone out there has been waiting for this moment is Lydia Walter, the
Hello.
woe in woman. What's up, Lyds?
What's up?
What's going on?
Not too much. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Yeah. I mean, in essence, you're having us here.
Yeah, welcome.
It's pretty badass, man. Just this whole experience with the Wild Edge Inc. connection and us, spreading the CT United Bow team and growing as a family and keeping the quote-unquote brotherhood growing, which is basically the family in the hunting industry. It's just exciting, man, to just get a woman involved because we need more women involved outdoors, especially more hunters that are women. This way we could continue to spread the good word because, quite honestly, I think the baddest hunters out there are women. They just have the capacity to stay focused more so than a man. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
I agree with you completely.
So
rambling, man.
Yeah. So, Lydia Walter.
What's going on?
What's up? Let's get cut into it.
All right.
Who are you? Where are you from? And where can we find you?
I am Lydia Walter. I'm from East Haddam, Connecticut, right next door. I mean, Moodus, Connecticut is in East Haddam, technically, so we are in Moodus right now. And where can you find me? I am part of Wild Edge Incorporated. And
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. I am always posting on Wild Edge Inc., at Wild Edge Inc., also at Lydia B. Walter. I like to keep it simple, straightforward. That's my name. So.
That's cool. That's cool. What's the B for?
That's my middle name, Blair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not to be confused with the Blair Witch, but...
No, far from that. I'm actually, you mind turning my mine up a little bit? Thanks.
Well, it's
Yeah. We got it. So Lydia is awesome name. That's my mom's name and my daughter's name. So that's pretty badass. So best name in the world in my book.
Yeah, it's also it's a family name for me as well. Goes back in, I think, on my mom and my dad's side.
Really?
Yeah.
What a coincidence. That's crazy. And the whole group here, we feel like we've been family and known each other for a ton of years already. So it's a little scary how small the world really is. But it makes it definitely embraceful. This way we could continue growing the team. So let's cut into it. Tell us what got you outside.
I think I've been outside since I was, big enough to walk. I remember my mom always tells a story about how she left me, in the care of my father, and she's driving away down the driveway, and she looks out her rearview mirror, and there I am escaping out the back door. So, I was always running away trying to be outside since I was big enough to walk.
Nice.
But really what kept me outside was just my family. We were always doing something outdoors, whether it was backpacking, hunting, fishing, you name it. We were out there doing it. Sports, I'm a big sports person. So growing up, I was always on the soccer pitch. I was always playing softball,
Nice. That's badass. So, who would you go outside with? Like, what was the main person that was always dragging you outdoors?
Honestly, that'd be my brother, Drew. He was always, I was always trying
Boneyard?
to play Boneyard, I guess. I don't know him as Boneyard. I'm 4 years younger than him, so it was always like, where's Drew? What's he doing? And can I keep up? Right. So, he's out with the neighbors playing outside. They're on their bikes, and, I get my little trike out, and I'm like, wait up, guys, I'm coming. Right. So, it was always like, I think that pushed me to do things beyond my years was just trying to keep up with him. And my dad was big into Boy Scouts, and he was the Scoutmaster. My brother did it growing up. They're both Eagle Scouts, and so I always call myself an honorary Scout because I was dragged along to all the campouts, all the backpacking.
Supreme Girl Scout.
Supreme Girl Scout,
yeah.
Yeah. I just skipped that level.
Nice.
So we were always rock climbing, you name it.
That's pretty badass. So growing up, so to speak, in your brother's shadow, being 4 years younger, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So growing up in his shadow, so to speak, I think a lot of us can relate in that. Anyone that has an older sibling, you always want to tag along, and you're kind of like the tick from the woods. You're just clinging on, and you just want to be involved because you look up to them. It's pretty cool because it advances us. I know me personally, I could relate because I was always doing stuff that a lot of my other friends weren't doing or weren't even capable of doing because they didn't have the practice or someone to look up to and push them to get them to that level. So what did you take away from everything that you learned doing just that? What do you take away from your brother specifically?
Well, honestly, it's just the, ability to push yourself and to, not say that that's out of my reach. It's saying like, well, he can do it, so why can't I? Right? It's like there's no limit on what I can do because I've already seen it done, right? So I guess I take that away from it and always learning, I was always in situations that are maybe ahead of my knowledge, and so just always learning while I'm in the woods watching him. So
that's cool. That's really cool. I love that answer because most of us out there are the, see it done and then we could apply it. Mm-hmm. So... And Ryan and Trev, anything that pops in your mind, please speak up. I
actually, when you're saying like hiking and doing all these things, there's something that you did that a lot of people haven't done, especially as a woman. And can you explain to everybody what that is that you did that most men can't even accomplish?
Yeah, so in 2017, I hiked the Appalachian Trail, which is a footpath from Georgia to Maine, or Maine to Georgia. But, we don't like the southbounders, as you call it. You got dirty southbounders. So I went northbound from Georgia to Maine. It's 2,190 miles.
Jesus.
Up and down on the East Coast.
Sweet baby
Now,
Jesus.
did you do that in one trip?
Yeah, so I did it, I say we because I met people out there we call our tramly or trail family, and those are some people that are like closest to my heart. Nice. Shubbing. It's something that you can't do by yourself, so that's why I'll often say we. But yeah, what was I answering?
No, that you hiked
The
the
Appalachian
Appalachian
Trail.
Oh yeah,
Trail.
in one go. So they say a through hiker is someone that does it in one consecutive year. It took me 5.5 months.
Hell yeah!
Wow.
That's
Just
so
straight walking.
badass.
Just straight walking.
That's impressive.
Hell yeah! So, which states did you encounter?
Oh wow! All right, there's
Georgia to Maine.
Georgia, Maine.
Lyds, your voice changed so quickly. I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for
I think
that.
there's 14 states, if I'm not mistaken. So it's Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. You're hitting Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey,
Maryland.
Connecticut, Mass. Is it Maryland?
Is
Yeah,
Maryland
you're in
in there?
Maryland for a very brief second.
Yeah, the
Maryland.
ending of it, yeah. Or the gut of it, anyways.
Yep,
Yeah.
you hit it for about 20 miles, maybe.
She talks about it like it's nothing.
Yeah,
We,
3 miles.
we were in
20.
Maryland for I think 2 days. It wasn't even so I often forget about that. But yeah, Maryland, and then right up through New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. So
Awesome. And don't you have your own business too? What is it? Help Me Hike, is it?
yeah, Help Me Hike. This past summer, I started it, and I've taken a couple people on guided hikes, backpacking trips, anything from a day hike to I took someone on a 4-day backpacking trip through the White Mountains in New Hampshire on the Pemigewasset Wilderness. So that was really
Wow.
cool.
That is really cool. Are there other places that you guided hikes for, or
Mostly New England. Yes,
Awesome.
so keeping it East Coast.
keeping it real, keeping it East Coast? I like that. I
That's
like
awesome.
That. Well,
That's so cool.
It is. It's. I mean, I know I'm probably gonna say it very redundant on badass, but I mean that's badass.
It is really badass.
So, what is your favorite outdoor activity? Actually,
Ooh,
good one, right?
that's hard.
I know. You take your time. You can think of a little mull
I
it
think-
over.
Well, because of the Appalachian Trail, it's got to be distance backpacking. It's just so close to my heart right now, but I'll get outside, and I love to be outside. So, I love to go hunting. I love to go fishing. I love to be on the boat, go camping, go kayaking, anything like that.
Anything outdoors. So the hunting, I'm glad you brought that up actually, because that's what sparked our interest, and definitely we learned a thing or two the first time we met you, and I definitely want to touch on that specifically. What was your first weapon?
My first weapon, I think, was a stick bow that my father made me from a couple of sticks in the yard, stick and string with another stick with a tennis ball on the end, right? So, here, launch this a couple times in the yard. Then I got to graduate to a recurve. Once I got good at that, graduated to the compound bow. But
Nice. So,
Cheers to that.
so what was your first kill? Do you remember?
of course, I remember.
And what age were you too?
I was a little bit older, so I didn't start consistently hunting until I was 18. So I had been in the woods and I had hunted from 12 to 18, here and there, like one time here, 2 years later, another time I went out. But I didn't start consistently going until I got to college, and I went out with Drew, actually, just like basically in the backyard. And, just before the end of legal shooting light, this little spike comes running in. And Drew's like, get ready. And I'll never forget that. I had to, shimmy around to the other side of the tree, when you're trying to lift your bow around and you're awkwardly.
What were you on? What kind of gear?
I just
Was
had
it a platform or steps?
just
or?
your regular old stand, steps right up to us.
Oh, nice.
Hang-on
Nice.
stand, yeah. It was classic setup. That's how I started. I always used steps my whole life. I was lucky to have Jim Step be in our life before I even started hunting. So I've always used them. And, just a little spike came in. So that was it.
And you took them.
Took him.
Nice.
Your
That's
first
awesome.
deer, you don't.
What, did you get buck fever at all, or?
I really don't. And I know a lot of people do, and they're like, oh, come on, you don't get buck fever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I don't get.
Why are you mocking us guys with that voice?
Everyone's like, oh my god, it was so crazy. I'm like, well, I have a routine I go through, and I practice even if I know I'm not going to shoot in a particular circumstance. I'll practice and I'll slow my heart down and I'll take a few breaths and I'll really just focus on what I'm doing and put myself, in that moment, and then I don't get all freaked out.
That's good advice, actually. That's really good advice, actually. So So we covered, actually, my next question was the first people that you hunted with, and you covered that. So did you cry when you killed it?
No? I did not.
Did you pray at all? Did you thank God? Well, I mean, you must have had a post reaction. What was it?
Honestly, it was just this feeling that kind of, you get heartburn when you eat. It was kind of like that. It was just this heavy-hearted feeling because, it hits you like I just took a life. It's, it's not a small thing. It's a big thing that I think every hunter goes through. And it's just kind of this heavy-hearted feeling, and you're like, wow, I did that. But then you're excited about it because I was raised in a situation where it's like, this is dinner, right? So you're like, yeah, I'm contributing. This is cool. I'm excited. Like, Drew was so hyped. He was off the wall, proud. So that was really cool. But yeah, it was just kind of that heavy-hearted mixed with pride.
That's cool. That's cool. You paint a good picture. It's awesome. That's awesome. So who processed it after that?
Oh, Drew did.
The
first one he did. Okay. But,
he did the whole thing? Did you help him, or?
I watched.
Nice.
No.
So now
I will now.
So now you process your own deer?
Yeah. I can. I do get some help, though,
Well, help. I think we all help each other.
That's part of that's the whole
That's
part
the whole
of it,
thing, right? You're not out there by yourself, and
It's funny you mentioned that because every time we get together, like us specifically, I'm talking about Ryan, Trevor, and I. When we get together on hunts, we actually go out there, meet up together. We go to our spots together, and then we split up.
Yep.
And we were splitting up sometimes miles apart, and sometimes really close. But that being said, at the end of the day, if one of us gets a kill, we phone in, or we use a certain app. I think right now we're using Hunt Stand, but we might be switching to a different platform. I will disclose this. Bryce Stone has something new to the game too. The Hunter site. I'm curious on it. We need to really dive into that a little bit and see what that's about. Because there's a lot of good platforms out there, like Onyx as well. So
I was checking that out, the Bryce Stone one and Hunter's site, but there's no mobile edition to it, I don't think.
There is, actually.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah, I touched base with them, but like I said, it's just something we need to learn more of because there's so many different platforms to be used. And I'm one for options. I don't like to be set in my ways, especially being new deer hunter to the game. So I definitely explore my options on that. But let's get back to Lyds. Outdoor activities, sports. You mentioned you did sports.
Yes.
Which sports did you do?
All of them. No. Mainly soccer, basketball, and softball. Those were my big three. All the way from, park and rec, Pee-wee up to college.
Nice. College sports, too. Which one in college?
So I played for Western Connecticut State University, and I played basketball my freshman year, and I carried on softball for 4 years.
That's badass. That's awesome. I had a little college myself, but it gets very competitive at that level.
It does. It really changes you, I think.
Because everyone is like as good as you, if not better.
Probably better.
It's not like high school. Yeah,
honestly,
it's definitely not like high school.
I especially went from being a big fish in a little pond to kind of getting to experience what that next level is, and just the work that you have to put in, the mental fortitude you need to have.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
That's crazy.
But also a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's gratifying for sure. So, since we're on the subject of sports, I know we're struggling on a lower alcohol content beer today because the Super Bowl was yesterday, and that was pretty interesting. It was definitely a defensive game for sure, which is I could appreciate playing football all my life. You don't see that too often. There was a lot of discrepancies. Most boring game, this and that. But me being a middle linebacker, I thought it was probably one of the most exciting games ever. But I'm a nerd like that. So what are your thoughts? Because I know you were watching it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I think you actually asked me to get lighter beer, right?
Yeah. I was like, I'm still feeling the effects of yesterday, so maybe we could keep it cool. But, of course, I was watching Patriots on my team, so I was excited. Everyone was saying, how boring. It's only 3-3, and I'm like, yeah, but it's a close game. Everyone complains when it's not a close game. You're like, this is intense,
Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat.
So.
Hell yeah.
Brady's the GOAT.
He is the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Dude, he doesn't even have enough fingers on one hand to support all his rings. I'm sorry, Trevor. What do you have to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna ask her like, so on the regular, so hunting season you're hunting, and the off season you're hiking. But
Yeah.
is there something else that you do in the outdoors that, in like the summer or spring, maybe?
In the summer or spring? Is this a leading question?
I know where you're going with this.
Where are
Trev,
we
but-
going with this,
So
Trev?
you're a bow fisherman?
Oh, yes, of course, of course.
Bow fisher?
Bow fisher. Yeah, again, Drew exposed me to that because I never, honestly, before he was like, yeah, we're going bow fishing, I was like, what is that? You know what I mean? And so he rigged his little duck boat, put a giant platform on it, put LED lights under it, and we go out on the river and shoot carp. And I take my recurve, and it's super fun.
Hell yeah.
And she does it with a recurve, mind you.
I know.
Hell yeah.
It's
That's
actually,
badass.
it's a lot more natural because when you're shooting carp, it's really quick. So when you pull back and release, you don't have time really to get the compound to go to full draw and then aim. It's more just instinct shooting.
Yeah. That's probably the best type of shooting that I prefer, actually, to be honest. But, all right, let's get off homework and everything. We've been kind of grilling you a bit.
Yeah.
So let's kind of take a couple sips of our beer for a second. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Salud. So, since we're on the subject, what's your favorite poison? Is it beer, liquor, natural things? I mean, what are you into? let's get down to
It's
the
like
nitty
you're a
gritty.
hiker, so
You must be a hippie.
We know what hippies do.
no, I really like craft beers. And being from Connecticut, we have so many good craft breweries around us. Two Roads, Thimble Island, Stony Creek, like Shabine. No, honestly, you guys brought Shabine into the household, and it's a great beer.
Hell yeah. Appreciate that.
But, you know-
I'm sure they appreciate that, too.
A little whiskey too every once in a while.
Yeah, now you're
Yeah.
talking.
What's your forte? Which whiskey?
Well, I wouldn't buy it, but when my uncle comes over, we always say, "Hey, Uncle Todd, can you pick up a bottle of whiskey?" Because he only likes a really high-end whiskey. It's the only one he'll drink, so he brings Angel Envy, and we take advantage of that a little bit.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that one, actually. That's cool. So, what do you do day by day? Let's get
A day in the life?
Yeah, a day in the life of Lydia.
So I'm grinding right now. I've got my feet in a lot of doors. I've got a couple of jobs. I do marketing for a financial firm in West Hartford, New England Financial. Been working with them since last August. I do a little bit for the Recruiter U, so marketing and funnel building for a coach of recruiters who recruit people for jobs. And then Wild Edge. So,
Whoop, whoop.
whoop, whoop, Wild Edge Inc. So I do the behind the scenes social media, website stuff, just a little bit of marketing here and there for Wild Edge too.
That's cool, and it's funny you mentioned that too because, again, growing this team together, Drew kind of has put me in a position to help you out with that as far as the marketing goes and networking this way to reach out and make everyone aware of what this team has to offer and what we're bringing to the table. We will be at the Iowa Deer Classic representing the whole East Coast. There's going to be the Modern Assassin, Wild Edge Inc., East Coast Bowhunting Podcast, complete crew, and we're bringing the East Coast to the Midwest, so it's going to be badass. And I hear you may make it to Harrisburg.
I
next
might
week.
make it out this weekend. We'll see how my foot's doing, if I can keep it elevated in that car ride. But, yeah, I'm trying to get down there Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Word up.
I think that the boys are going to need you down there.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I usually run the books for Drew, so I hope he's doing all right.
He's probably watching online right like, oh, shit, I forgot to do that. You heard that, Drew, right now. So, that's pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool. So let's get back to the nitty-gritty in the business. What types of hunts have you been on so far?
What types of hunts?
Yeah.
Like, what game have you chased?
Whitetail, turkey, carp. Is that game? I don't know.
Oh,
Not
that's
carp.
game.
It's all fair game.
That's game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just that's pretty much it. I tend to stay in the whitetail lane a lot. I would like to get out. My dream would be, an elk or a red stag. That'd be really cool. So eventually that's on the radar. But for right now, just, Connecticut whitetail is the main one.
That's awesome because Connecticut is something to be said with the whitetail. We definitely don't compare in numbers on how many big deer we may have. But we definitely do have big deer laying around. Big bucks are around every corner. Numbers and deer are probably pretty similar, but big bucks are just hiding in the right spots. And that leads me to that photo you sent me. I hit you up the other day. I'm like, hey, Lydia, when you get a chance, just send me some pics that I could use for promo. And this way, just to get your face out there so people know like what they're getting themselves into, because you never know on East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. It's kind of all over the place.
Who's this chick?
Yeah. Like, well, what do we have next now? And that one picture that I posted is pretty impressive. With a bow, the picture that you sent me is you're kind of like on one knee next to Bullet, kind of petting him and stuff. And he's such a badass dog. And then this massive buck. Yeah. With your bow just laying on them. Can we go into detail a little bit with that hunt?
Sure, yeah. I think it was the coldest day I've ever been hunting. So I was up in just a regular tree stand with my compound bow and just waiting. We knew he was going to come in. It was one of those nights where it was total cold front. So they're moving, and it was just this big cold snap. We're up there shivering. I say we because Drew filmed it, which was really cool to have that on camera.
Oh, you have it on film, too?
Yeah, we do.
I got to see that.
So he came in, and we're just watching him, and he's taking his sweet time. We're just meandering in, and they're not even aware. He didn't care what was going on. He was just there to eat. And so you're just waiting, and I just remember shivering. I'm just standing there. I'm like, how can I possibly hold my bow? I'm just shivering, right? So just waited, and he finally came in close enough, got the bow on him, got the sight on him, and that was pretty much it.
That's awesome.
But he did run out into the gnarliest swamp, the drag out the next day. We waited till the next morning. It was brutal.
Can we go into detail with that so the newbies know exactly what you mean by that, the drag out? And
yeah, so where we were positioned was on the edge of a field, and instead of running into the nice open field, of course, they run into where they feel safe, which is the gnarliest, nastiest place they can find. So he just turned and ran into the swamp, and with all the briars and muck and vines and anything he could find, he laid down there. So the next morning when we went in and tracked him, we came upon him, and it was tough to. We didn't field dress him or anything. We just wanted to pull him out just so we could get some nice pictures on the edge of the field and kind of celebrate. So dragging him out of the swamp was brutal.
Hell yeah! So let's it's just impressive. I want to see that. We all need to see that film.
Oh, absolutely.
Again, Trev, Ryan, if anything comes to thought, just chime in, man, because we're covering a lot really quick, trying to, because we don't want to go over everything. we want to leave a little mystery, but feel free to chime in. But here's an off question. What did you think when you first met us?
Oh, but that's not going to be good. Why did you go there?
I'm putting us on blast.
Oh my gosh, how do I answer this? I don't know. These guys, these bearded guys, just showed up in the office, and so I live upstairs, and I walked in, and I'm like, who the heck are these people? Right? So it's like, oh, some podcast guys are coming over, and I was like, okay,
just some podcast guys.
Okay. No, so it was. I don't know. You kind of are exactly who you sound like you would be. You don't pretend to be anything else. So whatever you guys are picturing, that's pretty much what you're gonna get.
Write that down right there.
Just write that the fuck down.
The time on that. So
well, that's just it though. We're live. We're raw. We are who we are. We're not pretending to be anyone else. So that's a great description of who we are. Like you're saying, what you hear is what we are.
We appreciate those words actually, because that's what we strive for, and that's what we live. I mean, we're a blank page, and we wear our emotions on our sleeve, and we are who we are.
The ponytail did throw me off a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
It usually does to a lot of people because in the hunting industry, you don't necessarily see long hair all the time. I get joshed at, but you know what? When it comes to shooting day or day of the hunt, I surprise people and rock the Viking braid. So
D-Rock, I was going to ask you about that, D-Rock. What is your hairstyle choice when you're hunting?
when I'm hunting, it's definitely a tight knit Viking braid because essentially I have a mohawk essentially.
Nice,
but my hair it's a pain in the ass. You know what? August 3rd, it's all coming off. I'm just
why the 3rd?
All of it.
Yeah. Well, the 3rd is my wedding day, and my fiance, shout out Sandra Summer, and my daughter want me to keep my hair, but I told them wedding day it's coming off, and that was the deal we had. It's just too much work than what it's worth. I mean, it looks great when it's done up, but when it's not done up, I look like a fucking caveman. So fuck that.
Are you gonna hang that ponytail next to a turkey beard?
Ew.
On your wall?
Nah, I'm just gonna plaque it right next to the beards.
Just plaque it.
Shadow
right.
box.
So you told shadow box that shit. So all right, so you answered that. So what do you think? What did you think before you met us? Like you heard East Coast Bowhunting podcast, like.
Because
was Drew talking about it? Or
trying to be
like,
deep, or like, do you want to know?
Yeah, let's get a little deep detail. You know, like I want to know the first initial reaction that you had or thoughts.
Well, honestly, I was excited that somebody was representing the entire East Coast and not just pinpointing one tiny piece of the United States or just only focusing. We hear a lot about Midwest hunting and just big game out west. So it was really cool to hear that somebody was actually representing the East Coast, and not only that, but from Connecticut. I was like, wait, you mean they're going to come here? Like they live in Connecticut and they talk about hunting? So that was cool.
Hell yeah. So that being said, what do you think about us now? This is scary. I didn't want to ask this because it could go any which way, but what do you think about us now?
You guys are all right. Just all right.
Thanks. It's better than you can't deal with us, I guess,
Getting
kind of have to deal with us
already.
tonight.
Oh, man. I'm having a lot of fun. So let's take a little break again. Cheers again.
Cheers.
Salud.
Cheers. Salud.
I think they say skull. In
Skull.
Viking. Skull.
Yeah, and
Is that like the
Copenhagen.
hippie hiker?
No,
No, that's Viking.
Vikings, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Got to jump on it, bro.
I'm a little.
Yeah.
I'm a little sheltered.
So I got a question for you, Lydia. So of course you talked about you shot recurve bows. Now you do shoot a compound bow. What do you shoot for a compound bow? What's your setup?
Right now I have a Stevens bow. Anything other than that, I don't really know. That's all I know about it. But it shoots great. It was a competition bow that I got from one of our friends who shoots competition archery, so it was already set up prime. It has a really nice sight on it. It was good to go, so I was really lucky about that.
That's awesome. So, I mean, it leads me to, guys as well as girls out there, they all want to know. I actually got a few messages. Are you single?
No, I am not. I'm not single. I'm in a relationship.
Happily taken. Of course. The good ones are always taken.
Moose Man, she is taken.
Oh, he put him on blast.
Put you on blast, Moose Man.
Nah, he was asking for a friend, actually. He specified that, so...
Yeah, I'm just messing with him.
We're not trying to get him in trouble. So, all right, people always paint the picture, and the whole reason... Not the whole reason, but one of the very main reasons we wanted to have you on the show is because on social media platform, everyone paints the picture of a quote-unquote huntress or this beautiful lady, half-naked, posing in pictures and stuff like that. And that's not reality. I mean, the whole saying, the post that I've been putting out, you're dropping the huntress and bringing in the hunter.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the... Okay, what are your thoughts on the thoughts of the word huntress?
I'm not a big fan of the word huntress. I think it had good roots, good origin in the fact that, let's promote women in the outdoors and let's acknowledge that they're here and they're contributing to conservation, right? We're buying tags, we're buying gear, we're buying ammo, so we're contributing to the overall cause. I mean, the big thing is, right, more hunters, more money for research and conservation and that kind of thing, which is, a big part of why we're all out here. But the word huntress in itself, I think, has taken this turn where it's a lot of glam in the outdoors, and that's not me, at least. So I'm not doing my hair and my makeup before I go out hunting, and I'm not coming home and getting ready before I take that photo with the deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just raw and real.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why we wanted you on the show, and because you definitely bring a different aspect to the table, and quite honestly, you shot a bigger buck than all of us here.
Yeah, very true.
I have a pretty big one, which I thought was pretty big, especially for me, being a new hunter, on my wall, and then I saw the one that you took. I'm like, holy shit, she's the real deal. So
especially for Connecticut.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's something to be said.
It's all about the camera angle, though.
Is that what it is?
That's true.
Going back to the huntress thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are your feelings when you scroll through social media and you actually see something like that?
I'm torn, honestly. I like the fact that it's out there. I really do. I like the fact that we're
not knocking the game, but
yeah, I'm not knocking it, and to each his own. If that's your thing, if you're into it and you're a glam person and that's your thing, more power to you. It's just not me, and I'd like to see more individuals and more women just kind of posting the real aspects, like what's your journey, how did you get here, and who taught you, and how can we teach more women, because I think if you don't have that role model, if you don't have somebody that brings you into it, it's really intimidating, and it's hard to put yourself out there and kind of learn, especially being a woman and not seeing it done before. There's a lot of guys on social media saying, like, I'm new to this, please help me out, like, I'm wondering, what's the deal with saddle hunting? But you don't see a lot of women out there going, I'm new to this, no one's, kind of guiding me, where do I start?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. That's crazy, and I'm glad you bring that up, because my next question is, how do you deal with the male influence? I mean, especially, growing up with your brother and all his friends, I'm sure you get a lot of flack from them, especially being younger, too, as well. How do you deal with that external male influence?
I think it kind of just shapes you to who you are. It's the environment you grow up in. So I had that kind of competition and, all my brother's friends being around constantly and trying to always keep up and, be one of the guys. But I think it really kind of made me the competitive person that I am and not afraid to go after what I want.
So what is it that you want?
What is it that we want? I don't know. No, I really I like to be on the ground floor. I like what we're building here. I like e-commerce, small business, person-to-person interaction, and just helping people kind of get to where they're going. So from marketing is kind of like, and sales is like a dirty word, right? Right. Nobody likes a salesman, but it's super important, and it's more the aspect of interacting with people and helping them get from A to B than it is, like, you're not out there for yourself, right? So
I do have to agree with that. What's up, Trent?
And especially, building what we're building with the East Coast United Bowhunters, and like what we're doing in this team and everything like that is totally touching on what you're saying. Is like, we're not in this for ourselves. We're in this for everybody that we meet along the way. Yep. And just collaborating and taking ideas from one to another, and that, D-Rock might have an idea that will help me, and I might have an idea that will help you, or Ryan, or Drew, or anybody, and just working together and doing it. And like your brothers, one of the things that really kind of touched me with your brother was that he was like, I don't care if you want to make a fucking video or I want to make a fucking video. We just call each other. Everyone comes together and we just fucking do it. And doing it as a group is better than doing it alone.
Right. And
I think that's just a great thing. And I think it's something that we're all building together. And it's just amazing.
That's the best part about it, is with this whole team that we got going now. Lydia, I mean, you're highly involved with the team, and I'm sure we're all going to learn something from you, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and vice versa, definitely.
It's definitely going to be badass. Yeah, you're going to see Trev's bloopers. I'm definitely a Force Ninja, but hands down, every single time, and these boys can vouch for that, is as soon as I step in the woods, I do some clumsy ass shit and make a whole racket. Every single time. But
He calls
thereafter.
himself the Forest Ninja, but the first time I ever went into the woods with him, it was like this.
Yeah, as soon as we got into the thicket, it's always something. But then thereafter, what happened with that snap
What was that?
when we went shed hunting?
Tripping over the log or something.
No. The other one, when we were deep into it, you
stuck your foot right in the mud as soon as you started going.
as soon as we started going in.
Yeah.
But then you caught me in the act being a forest ninja.
Oh yeah, jumping. from pod to pod. Yeah.
We
jumping rivers and
we were in an area where there was just
bouncing
rivers and
logs.
streams all coming together. So all of a sudden you find your spot. All of a sudden you didn't know it. You're on an island now, and you got either going back the way you came and you're backstepping, or you're trying to figure out how to cross this. And Trev got D-Rock on a snap, jumping from one log to the other over a stream, and it was just the perfect timing.
And
on
that's
it.
why,
was perfect.
And going to the Trev's bloopers part of it was I was on the other side of the fucking river from them, and I start going, and I just ran out of land, and it was either water or not. Now I'm on this peninsula. Now I have to walk back probably 2,000 yards to get across the fucking river to go up onto their side. It was just a nightmare.
Just go through it.
Yeah, right.
if we had the right boots, yeah.
Yeah, I got my shoe moccasins on. Oh, it was not good.
Crocs.
No, actually, I had.
You would have been
Until
good
they
with the
did camel
Crocs.
Crocs.
I would have went across
I had
them Crocs.
these on.
Oh, those are fishing boots. They're
What
rubber.
are those?
Yeah, but only
What
to
are
the-
those?
You never seen those?
What are those?
They're extra tough shoes.
Right.
Shabing.
So, how Lyds? Let's get back to Lyds. We kind of got sidetracked, but how do you advocate for women's rights? I mean, your friends definitely must look up to you.
That's a loaded question there. Just being myself, honestly, and I don't hide anything when I post online, and I don't feel bad about what I post. I think a lot of people, they're trying to put up this image of who they are, and I'll put up, the hiking, this is a good example, the hiking and the hunting world sometimes clash, right? But I'll have pictures of myself guiding a hike, and then I'll have a photo of myself, with the doe that I just shot. So I think just being true to that and kind of following my dream and, being involved in the business world and just kind of pushing towards that is how I do it, just by being myself.
That's really cool. And you must have a lot of especially guiding hunts, and then you're out in the timber being a forest ninja. There's a lot of pictures of you hanging from a saddle. You're either filming or you got a bow in your hand. I mean, you must have a following, a basis, people that look up to you. How do you approach them when they reach out to you?
Just if anybody were to reach out to me and say on Instagram and I don't know you and you said, how did you get into saddle hunting? My first thing is to just be open with them and start a conversation. And I think that's why social media can be so important. It has a lot of negative connotations nowadays, how it can be so bad and everything. But if used in the right way, it could be illuminating, and it could really start somebody's hunting career who might not have ever thought about trying it.
That's awesome. Oh snap! You made it to our next segment. You like that?
Intense.
It's corny, but it works. It makes it a little comical. Brings some comic relief to the show. Ninja tip of the day, Lydia Walter.
All right.
What you got?
So, I kind of have two. My first one is a little intense. So my first ninja tip.
I'm sorry, is it Walters or Walter?
Singular.
Singular, yes.
Walter.
There's only
Walter.
one. Only one Walter.
Hard R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ninja tip of the day, I'm sorry.
All right. So never look into the eyes of a deer if you're in a situation where you're trying to get a shot. Never make that connection, right? Because I think there's nothing that's going to give you away more than making that eye-to-eye connection.
So that ninja tip was Garrett Benner's
that
ninja tip. And the fact that you have Garrett Benner's ninja tip, to me, that means that you're a fucking savage, because nobody in this world to me is more of a savage than Garrett. So
I did not know that. Wow.
he's definitely got the man crush going with G down in Maryland.
It's my boy,
But he's 100% right, and I couldn't agree more. If you know that only shows how much time you have spent in the woods and how many deer you have slayed, because not everyone knows that. If that deer sees the white in your eyes, you're going to spook them.
Oh, yeah.
It's that prey instinct.
So you came prepared and you did your homework. I see a little notebook on your lap. It looks like you may have another ninja tip of the day. You mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, my other thought was, I didn't know if I was going to get real serious and intense there with the deer's eyes, but my other thought is keep it simple. I live my life, kind of minimally, and I really like the minimalist approach to life. That comes from backpacking, and that comes from hunting and just being in the woods. And, I'm not one of those people that's like, okay, I have a backpack full of gear, and I'm going to go charge into the woods, and I'm going to have a call for every single scenario, and I'm going to have antlers that I'm going to rattle, and then I'm going to, I don't do that. I keep it very simple. I go in the saddle, I have my bow, I have maybe one call, and that's pretty much it. I got some extra steps because, you never know if you're going to need to do a pull-up to get into one of the sets. But, yeah, so that's pretty much it.
That's really good advice, actually. Just go in the timber and kill shit. Yeah, basically.
That's it. That's what I got out of that.
That's a good ninja tip for sure.
Get out there and be it. And
be present. You don't need all the latest shit on the market. Like it gets to a point where it's overwhelming, right? When you get caught up in the weeds of like, oh my god, I need all this stuff. I need top of the line camo. It's all going to match. You don't need all that stuff. You really just need to go outside.
I think one of the things, especially having a conversation with you prior to when being here, other episodes and stuff, is the whole scent control thing. And it's something that you don't take to the next level. You're very simple and very basic about it. And
did you just call me basic?
Well,
definitely far from.
Far from. But it's just something that, you're like, yeah, my hunting clothes are over there in the tote, and that's where they stay all year long.
Yeah, I think that if you know where you're going to set up and you know how you're going to approach it, you don't need to get caught up in the weeds of scent control, because you should be paying attention to which way the wind's blowing and whether you're hunting high or hunting low and what time of the day is it. And if you have a handle on those kind of things, I think you don't need an ozone blocker and all these scent control products.
So you're just full of ninja tips.
I'm telling you,
yeah,
women are focused. I'm telling you, it's a fact. It's a fact. So that being said, best advice that you have for women out there getting into hunting, and also hunters that are women. What's the best advice that you give to them?
Just don't be intimidated, right? Just don't think that I can't ask for help because, I might seem like I don't know what I'm talking about, or don't feel like you can't just go out and start learning. Like, if you go outside, and even if you aren't hunting yet, just go sit in the woods and watch, and you're going to learn more than you ever could. I think we get caught up in the fact that nowadays we have so much access to information, and it's overwhelming. Like, there's everyone has an opinion on everything.
Right.
So just get out there, get in the woods, and just start and ask for help.
That's really good advice. All right. You made it to our last segment, and we're starting to wind down. We've covered a lot of material, and we could talk all night for sure. And I have actually a whole bunch of questions that I didn't even ask for the sake of the podcast, just to leave a little mystery. What rattles your antlers?
Ooh, what rattles my antlers? What grinds my gears?
Yeah.
Thank
you, Peter Griffin.
When people don't let you merge when you need to exit. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, in Connecticut. Amen to that.
Bunch of assholes. I'm
yeah,
in 84. No, what grinds my gears is when outdoor apparel companies assume that women want accents of pink in all their clothes.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up.
I don't understand why I can't buy camo pants that don't have a pink zipper. Like, that really irks me. I'm not hating on pink. Like, pink's fine, but give me an option. Maybe I want the zipper to be forest green or black. I don't know. That's weird, right?
With pink sparkles, or
stars and rainbow.
Bejeweled, right?
Yeah. And that's cool. Have that option, but maybe you throw another one in there.
Hell yeah, that's actually really good. Really good. I mean, we touched on so much, and we're so grateful for you even coming on the show, and more grateful for having us here at Slayer headquarters. I mean, there's so much positivity going on, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of listeners reaching out to you. Hopefully more women listeners that want to get into the woods. They're going to have a ton of questions for you. How they approach it, how they should approach it, or who to reach out to. And you're just one of those public figures that really brings a different dynamic to the game. And I look up to you, Lydia. I really do.
Thanks.
Especially as the women hunter.
Huntress.
No huntress. No huntress. I already get yelled at for that today.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, and you know what? Real quick before we start winding down, that's why we did this episode as well. Not only is she a savage and a badass and involved, there's a lot of lack of education. A lot of women don't want to be called huntress. Trev is touching on that because we started to promote Lydia and he was just simply unaware. He put hashtag huntress, and I hit him up right away. It's like, ooh, I'm like, we can't do that because there's actually women out there that prefer not to be huntress, and it's very deceiving because all over social media, their
Huntress.
their profile says huntress. Don't just assume that every woman wants to be called a huntress because I guarantee you, most women than not want to be called a hunter.
Yeah, and
they are equal.
I was just
if not better.
undereducated at that. You know, like just no education of the fact of huntress and not. I mean, seeing so many people, like you're saying, on social media and so on and so forth that wanted to become huntress. So I hashtag huntress, thinking that it was just the right norm of what it should be.
Right, and it was totally unintentional. Good intentions, actually, because the hashtags promote the stories and everything we're putting up.
But as you all know, she's not a huntress.
Nah.
She's a savage.
Savage, right. If anything, hashtag savage.
Hashtag savage.
So that's a good note to end on, and I think we should cut it there. Let's go around the room quick. Positivity. Trev, what you got?
Positivity. Just building the basis of just a killer Connecticut-based, East Coast-based United bow hunters, and just adding to the team and just keep adding more and more. And now that we have a woman hunter or huntress, we just keep on adding to the group and keep chugging along. What do you got, Ryan?
Hell yeah. So I want to say thankful for Lydia being on the show, being the first woman we've had on the East Coast Bow Hunting podcast. Thank you for showing everyone in the hunting community that this isn't just a man's sport. It's not just a man's thing like it's always been thought of that. And there's still a lot of people that do have that mindset. So thank you for being on here, breaking that stereotype here on East Coast Bow Hunting Podcast. No one should be intimidated to get into this sport. And I'm sure Lydia is open for anyone that wants to contact her, anyone that is intimidated, women, men, anyone, just to show you that let's all get out here, let's all hunt together. We're all a community, and the word brotherhood, it's not just brothers, it's everyone. It's just that
family.
It's just that family. So thank you, Lydia, for being our first woman on the East Coast Bow Hunting Podcast, and it's just been a great time here.
Oh, yeah. Lyds, what you got? Positivity.
Well, the Patriots won the Super Bowl.
Oh, she went there.
That's a positive. Represent New England.
No, honestly, I had a good time. Thanks for having me on. It's just really cool to be able to talk about some of the issues that maybe go under wraps and, just bring it up.
Hell yeah. What I got to bring to the table is a very positive, influential episode. We encourage all listeners, especially women, to reach out to all of us, and we could guide you to the right person if we don't have the right answer.
Absolutely.
Definitely hit up Lydia Walter, singular Walter.
Hard R.
Again, Lydia, where can they find you again?
Lydia B. Walter on Instagram and or Wild Edge Inc. at Wild Edge Inc.
Awesome. So reach out if you have any questions. Again, you can reach out to us, Ryan, Trev, or D-Rock, and we'll guide you to the right person if we don't have the right answer. And this has been an awesome episode. Go women's rights, and we are pro women hunters that are women. Let's grow as a family. And on that note, stay stepping.
Stay slaying.